let's rank another completed collection. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, my name is Lizzie and I'm a Disney plush collector from the UK. So happy Tuesday, I hope you're all having a great start to your week. I am here to rank and show my full collection of last year's Disney Decades collection. Now I'm very sorry for this, I did say it would go up in January and then a lot of plush dropped in January. If you didn't see my short where I showed you just how much I spent in January, I will leave a card up above. I bought 10 plushes, admittedly Joe then paid me back for one of them because it's going to be for my birthday, which is this month, but there was a lot of plush dropped in January. I'm even tracking how much it costs me and oh my goodness, I need a second job. I just do. And then I said it would be in February, and my only excuse for it not being in February is just that I didn't have time to film it. So here it is at the start of March, and I hope you're still interested in the Disney Decades collection. So if you are new here, this was a monthly collection from Shop Disney and Shop Disney UK last year. It started in about February, I think, and it was going to be 10. It started in February in the US, I believe, and March in the UK, because for some reason the US was always 1 month ahead of us, and we had some problems whereby 2 of the plushes didn't release on time, and I think to this date one of them still has never released and Disney just haven't acknowledged it, but I did get that one from the US. So it was going to be 10 plushes, one for each decade that the Disney company had been running, and it did give them the opportunity to do some very underrepresented characters, but then sometimes I think they played it too safe. So you probably know, especially if you've just clicked on this from the thumbnail, which 2 are my favourites. So you can probably guess the top 3, I would say, but you probably can't guess the rest. So here I am with my ranking of them. And actually while we're at it, I bought some protectors for their tags from Amazon, so I'm going to put them on because I don't know where they're going to be displayed. So at the moment they are just in a bag and I want their tags to be safe. This is probably a little bit like Mickey Mouse Collectors Club, where it took me over a year to find out where they were going to live once I completed the collection. And if you didn't see where I finally put my Mickey Mouse Collectors Club, I will leave a card up above. But I will admit, every time a shelf in my office went up, I did check whether it would fit this collection because I did really want the decades to be displayed. But it's really difficult. They are all different sculpts, all different characters, so different heights. It is going to be really difficult to find somewhere for them to live permanently. But let's start with number 10. This was the 8th one in the collection, and it's one that I actually picked up myself when I went to Walt Disney World. And if you didn't see my Walt Disney World vlogs, I will leave a card up above because I managed to get 2 of the Decades plushes from that trip. So coming in number 10 would be Darkwing Duck. He was the 8th in the series, but I just didn't resonate with Darkwing Duck. Even though it was for the 90s, I just didn't like him. I didn't watch Darkwing Duck as a kid, so I couldn't say this was a particularly good pick. When they had things like the Hunchback of Notre Dame that they could have picked, that's what I was personally really hoping for because I don't have a Quasimodo plush. So this one just kind of fell flat for me. Another thing that's going to make them really difficult to display is the fact that they are in these mesh drawstring bags. I imagine Disney must have been really proud of this decision, but it just doesn't work for me, to be honest. I'm just going to pop a tag protector on before I put him away, but they are A7 ARC polyfiles from Amazon. They come in packs of 5, so this actually worked out really well because normally I'd have a pack of 10 and I'd have 12 plushes that I need to put a tag on, so I feel like I'm always ordering these. But there it goes, and then the tag can just go inside of the bag, but it's a bit safer because I have noticed when I was getting them all out that one of them is already bent, so I've got to put it in the tag protector quick. Coming in number 9 is the 4th in the series, which is the 1950s, and that is the Shaggy Dog. I thought he was really cute. He's got some embroidery on him and he's in a cute little outfit, but I only know the Tim Allen, the Shaggy Dog film, which was a remake when I was a kid, and this just didn't resonate with me. When you think that the 1950s had things like Sleeping Beauty, it had Cinderella, they could have picked obscure characters from popular films. Even Peter Pan would have been a good one. They could have done Nana, but I know why they did this. It was because that was the first live action film that the company did, so I get why they decided to commemorate that, but it just didn't resonate with me. And there he is in his little bag. Coming in number 8 for me, and I say for me because this is just a very personal ranking based on whether I would have chosen what they chose. And I realise that some of these might be your favourite films or your favourite plush from the collection, but everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and this is just me saying I would have preferred X instead of Y. So coming in number 8 is the 10th one in the collection, so the 2010s, which was Judy Hopps. While I did like Zootopia, I just kind of feel like this one was a very safe bet. There's a lot of films they could have done. I would have loved something from Rapunzel, although I think that one might have been a bit too obvious. You could have done something from Pixar because we haven't had any Pixar representation, and obviously we got Toy Story 4 in that decade. And I think in the kind of promo shots where they showed you each month and they showed you a few films, Toy Story 4 was there. So I think I was really hoping that Toy Story 4 was going to be what they went with, but sadly they didn't. But it's a cute plush, it's just this one seems to be one of the taller ones, so every time I get a shelf I try and put her on it and she won't fit and I get really frustrated. I wish they'd all been a little bit smaller and a little bit cheaper. Speaking of wishing they were smaller, she even sits awkwardly in the bag because she's just a little bit too tall for it. So yeah, they could have made her a little bit smaller. Coming in 7th place is the 3rd in the series, which is the 1940s, and it's the Fantasia Pegasi. There are 5 of them and they're all kind of shoved in the bag. Luckily they're not all connected, so you've got this one, this one, this one, this one, and Peter Pegasi. So I did Google it extensively and they don't have names, which I think is really rude, but they just weren't my favourite. It was the first time that you actually saw the price increase and there was no warning. The first 2 had been $34.99 and then all of a sudden this one was £55, and I was like, hang on, why? They're still small even though there's 5 of them. So I really didn't agree with the ethics of this collection. I think because it was the first one where the price didn't stay the same, I just think it should have been communicated each month that there was going to be a price increase to the plush, because it didn't happen to the Loungefly or the pins as far as I know. So yeah, it should have just been handled better. And I'm really starting to think, because it's one of my goals this year to count my plush collection, do I count this as 1 or 5? I would personally count it as 5 because I know some people just kept Peter and sold the rest on Vinted. Let me know down in the comments because I really need to figure this out. Do I own 5 plushes or do I own 1 plush? I think 5. Coming in 6th place is the 2nd release, which was the 1930s, and it's the, to me, controversial Three Little Pigs. Now I say controversial because Disney in the UK didn't release these. They didn't put them in the promo shop, and then they didn't come online, and then they've never addressed why we didn't get them. So I imagine most people who follow me in the UK won't have these. I had a friend who was going to Walt Disney World, so he picked them up for me, but I wouldn't have them otherwise because they didn't have them when I went later in the year. These plushes tended to sell out in about 1 or 2 months. So I imagine most people have got an incomplete set. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments if you collected these. But I do really like them. They're not connected, so again, do I have 3 plush or do I have 1? But I just think it's really bad that the UK just never got a chance to complete their set. But they were a nice one. I do like how they've been done, and I can't really think what I would have wanted for the 30s if we didn't have these. And they sit really, really cute in the bag as well. Coming in 5th is the Steamboat Willie set, which was the first one, so this is the 1920s. I really like how retro they look, and I actually ordered these in Disneyland Paris when I was there for my birthday with my mum, so that's how I know that we were a month behind and we got them in March, because I actually ordered them while mum was getting us a Buzz Lightyear eclair. So they're really cute. They are connected by a tiny piece of plastic that I could remove, and I would class these as 2 plushes. When I'm going to be doing my counting, I think I'm going to do it if they could stand on their own, i.e. if I just cut their plastic, will they still be okay as plushes in their own right? For example, I've got a Lady and the Tramp that are connected by a piece of spaghetti. That would count as 1 plush, but I think these would count as 2. At the end of the day, it's my decision what I do, but I would love to know whether you would count it as 2 plushes or 1. So they're really, really cute, but there's just some better ones coming up. And when I said I've got tag protectors because there's a bent tag, it is unfortunately theirs. So I'm hoping that if I just get it in a tag protector really quickly, I might be able to reverse the damage, or at least keep it from getting more damaged. But I remember this one was always really hard to get back in the bag because they're connected. So let's see if I can do it. They're kind of in but they don't look as good as they did when I got them out of the bag, which is really frustrating. 3 and 4 are so interchangeable that I'm tempted to just say joint third place. But coming in fourth place, the 5th in the series, so the 1960s, Sword in the Stone, which I thought was a really good choice. So you've got Madam Mim as a dragon and Merlin as a little mouse, and they're just absolutely adorable. They're really, really detailed, like you can actually feel the scales on Madam Mim, and Merlin's just adorable as a mouse. I thought that was a really good pick. I couldn't really think of anything else I would have wanted instead for the 1960s. I was just really looking forward to the 1970s. But this is them in their little bag, and I think they look adorable. So like I said, this one's coming in third place, but it could have just been joint with number 4, and it's series 9 of 10, which is the 2000s, and they went with The Emperor's New Groove. So this is another one that I got in Walt Disney World. I did say to Joe the night before, because I just kept saying, even though it's our last day, even though we're fully packed, I've got to go and get this on the morning before we leave for the airport. So we had a little discussion. We was like, what are they going to pick? And I remember saying, I'd love it to be The Emperor's New Groove because it's Joe's favourite film, but what would they go with? What would they choose? And they went with Yzma as a cat, and I just absolutely love it. I think it's been so well done. This is the other one that Disney in the UK almost screwed up with. When it released a month later in the UK, the plush was nowhere to be seen, and then later on that day she came on the website as coming soon, which allows you to put in your email address and get an email when it becomes available. But I really thought it was going to be another Three Little Pigs situation, but she's really, really cute, and I love that they chose an underrepresented film. And then coming in second, this one will be no surprise to you because it was in the thumbnail. It's series 6 of 10, which is the 1970s, and they chose The Rescuers. I love The Rescuers. I would say it's probably in my top 5. The only thing is, because it was the 1970s, I was really hoping for Robin Hood or the Aristocats. Now, the Aristocats did get the ears, but I don't think Robin Hood got anything. I could be wrong. I can't remember what year Pete's Dragon was, but I really thought we'd get like a Robin Hood plush, maybe Sir Hiss maybe, or someone from the Aristocats. I was really hoping for like Duchess and O'Malley together like they did with Steamboat Willie. But I was also really, really happy with this one. It was really small. I think they still kept the price point at like £34 or £33 or something, so it was really steep, but I really, really love it, and I wanted to display it on my favourite shelf because there is a little bit of Rescuers representation there, but I just couldn't justify it. So this is my number 2. It's got a really tiny bag as well. Look how cute that is. And there they are. So that leaves my number 1. And I remember when I did my Disney Plus review of this, I did say it was going to be number 1 and nothing could possibly top it. So as you may know, my favourite film of all time is Oliver and Company, which is what Disney decided to do for series 7 of 10, which was the 1980s. So they did a Dodger with an Oliver, and they're absolutely adorable. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have these 2 plushes separately and I feel like they just remade them, but I love that they got the representation that they deserved, and they definitely went to number 1 for me. So the final tag protector just needs to go on because they are connected. It's really hard to get them into the bag. Don't get me wrong, I think they went a bit safe doing Oliver and Dodger. It would have been good if they did Tito and Georgette or something, but I understand why they went safe, and sadly I saw them in the sales after Christmas, so they didn't even sell that well. But here's them in their little bag, and I'm just so happy that they did them. So that is my full collection of the Disney Decades plushes and the ranking of them. Let me know which one is your favourite in the comments, and I do really hope to display them before January 2025. My plan is in the plush sofa room, Joe's room, to have like the longest shelf I can possibly fit in there and try my hardest to get them all to fit on, even if that means putting the smaller ones at the front, not necessarily having them in order. I just really want them to be displayed. I just don't know what to do about their bags then, because I do need their bags if they're being transported, and I want to keep them because the tags are on them that tell you about the film, but I wouldn't really just put them on a shelf in their bags, I don't think. But that is it from me. I'm glad I finally got around to doing this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big thumbs up, and I will hopefully see you on Friday for another video. Bye friends!